included. Is there any limitations around if you are at work and you know like you want maybe to achieve or to have a goal like to become a senior manager, right? Are there resources available for you to achieve that position, right? Yeah, so those 5 W's you always have to keep in mind. So for instance, just an example of a specific goal. How many of you have a goal of getting in shape for this year? Getting in shape, like being healthy, like reducing, getting in shape, yeah? Is that a goal for you, 2023? Yeah. Okay, so it depends with everyone, yeah? It depends with everyone, getting in shape. It can be men or women as well, yeah? But, just saying, I want to get in shape in 2023 is not enough. It's not enough, right? But how do we implement specific goals? The 5 W's, or how do we become specific in that just what I want to get in shape? So let me help you, yeah? You have to say, okay, this year I want to get in shape. That's one. But the other thing you have to say, okay, I'll join maybe my local gym. Okay? And I'll have a membership from there if they have memberships. Alright? And out of 4 days in a week, remember, you have to be specific. Out of 4 days in a week, 3 days maybe, 5 days, it depends, right? Out of 4 days in a week, every day maybe at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. after work, right? I have to be where? At the gym, so that I can be healthier. You see? So that is being specific. You don't just come and say, this year I want to be healthy. And it ends like that. And everyone else always have that goal, I want to be healthy, I want to eat healthy this year. And it just ends there.
Thanks, Basil. So I like to bring it home, right? Yeah. So tell us from your experience, what has actually worked and what has not worked? By the word specific, when you were putting a goal, maybe last year or the year before that, what has actually really been working by being specific and what has not actually worked because you were not so specific about it?
Well, thank you. There are different goals that I had, but I just want to speak about this one. O levels, yeah? We always have goals of getting 1.7. Right? And the teachers come inside the class, and what do? They pamper us. You can get 1.7 GPA. You can do this, right? So it was my goal to get 1.7, right? But I wasn't specific, right? I wasn't. Okay, the teachers were pampering us like to do the best, of course. But in my mind, I didn't have the exact. Okay, what am I going to get? 1.7, 1.8. Sometimes you're like, maybe it won't work, something like that. But you see, I wanted to pass my 4 levels, which I did, but I wasn't specific. I don't know, these days, what do they use? GPA or distinction? Whatever that is. So I wasn't specific what GPA I want, right? And how do I achieve it? So going back to the 5 W's, I'll apply this. Like in my own experience, I would have said, what do I want to accomplish? I want to get a 1.7 GPA, right? So if you're in school, you have to get GPA of 5.0 something in your university. You have to say I want to get 5.0, and that has to be specific. And you have to say, why is this goal important? Well, at that time in all levels, maybe I'll say, so I can make my parents happy because they're working hard. So, right? So why is this goal important? So that drives me like I want to make proud of my parents. And who is involved? Maybe I have a partner, I have someone I'm studying with, right? I can involve my teacher, yeah? And the 4th one, where is it located? Of course in school. Maybe, can I change the location? Can I be studying in the library as well? Yeah, is that attainable? And the 5th one, maybe I could have asked myself which resources or links included. All right, math is hard, yeah? Or physics is hard, maybe for me, right? I'm limited in that, but how can I really do my best so that I can perform better in math? Are there resources to help me to do that? Right. So in my Form 4, my own experience, I wanted to pass, but I wasn't specific what I want to get. become a TO. Yeah, some of you dreamt of that. Something I had that in mind, but it never happened.
Well, thank you for that good example, and I think we all learn from experiences, and that's why we're here. So M is measurable, and Rachel, how does one even measure a goal? Like, I'm an accountant and we do numbers. I'm not sure how words can be measured. So how do we measure the goal that we've been setting ourselves?
Okay, thank you very much. So, when I was researching about defining measuring a goal, I came across this verse. It's on Luke 14, starting from 28, and it starts, "For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him." So, when you're looking at how to measure a goal, by definition, it's creating an assessment of what success in that goal looks like. So you need to start from the end to the beginning. So you need to look at, okay, this is my goal, and this is my specific goal. How will I know if I have met it? Because if you don't create measuring techniques, you end up going in circles because you don't have a clear destination. So you really need to dig deep and be objective and quantify that this is my goal, but how can I measure it? And in trying to measure your goal, you can follow the following steps. So the first one is defining what does success in this particular goal look like. So in the example of Basil of getting in shape, how would you know that you have gotten in shape? How would success look like? And this could be subjective to other people. For some, it could be to lose weight. For some, it could be maybe they're battling a disease, so to overcome it. For some, it could be to gain weight. So you need to look at what does success in this goal look like. And you need to be as clear and objective as possible. Because the less clear you are, the more you're going to be going in circles. That's why you might find you end up going year by year saying, I'm going to get in shape, and then the year ends, and you're not even sure whether you've achieved this goal or not. So once you know how success looks like, you need to break it down into indicators. So for example, getting in shape, and that's the end goal, but you need to create indicators. What are the things that I can specifically tick off that indicates I have reached this goal? So you need to create indicators that are objective and quantifiable. So for example, getting in shape, you can look at a number, so you can say I need to lose a certain amount of weight, or I need to get my blood pressure in a certain way. So you need to create clear indicators so that in the end of the year, or in whatever time bound you have set, you can look back and you can tick those specific indicators. Once you have your indicators, you now need to translate those indicators into something that's measurable. And measurable means it needs to be quantifiable. Can you put a number to it? Can you put a percentage to it? Can you put a frequency to it? Because the more vague you're going to be, the more you're going to be going into circles. So you have to put a number to it. How much weight you want to lose? What's the blood pressure that you want to get by? What's the frequency of your diet? How are you going to break down your diet? So you need to sit down and really translate it. So move from just having an objective and an indicator, but now move it back to translate it to something that's quantifiable. Lastly, you need to, second to last, you also need to create a scoreboard. So you need to look at how would I be monitoring the measurement of my goals. So once you have your end to the beginning, you know this is where I am, I'm on point A, and I want to be to point B, and this is how point B looks like, and this is how I would know point B looks like. But what happens in the middle? So you also need to create a scoreboard. How would you know that you're going in the right direction? How would you know that the direction you chose is the right one? So you need to have mechanism to be reflecting on how you're measuring your goals. My goal is to get in shape. How would you be knowing throughout the way? So you need to say, maybe I'll be working out twice a week, but I'll be measuring my weight twice a week just to see the progress. And lastly but not least, you need to have a criteria to evaluate. Because when we set goals, if goals were, like we set goals because we have a higher reason. For some it could be to get in shape. For some it could be to finish school. For some it could be to get married or to have children. But we have a higher reason for it. Why do you want to achieve this goal? So you need to find a mechanism to evaluate the quality of the goal, the end goal. So this is what I want to achieve, but why? And did I achieve this why that I've achieved? Because yes, you could lose weight, and yes, you can get in shape, then what? So you need to evaluate the core purpose of having this goal. For example, one of my goals for 2023 was to host an art exhibition. But I don't want to do it for the sake of hosting an art exhibition. I want to explore my purpose. I want to explore where I want to take it. So you really need to go beyond this goal, go beyond just achieving it, go beyond just measuring it. Now you need to look at the quality of this goal. It's not enough to just say, I've reached this goal, I've measured that I've reached this goal, so what? How can you really justify that you've reached this goal at the very best possible way? Thank you.
Thanks, Riri. And then you even gave your personal experience, so I can't even ask you. So I'm going to come to the audience, and is there any comments, questions, before I pose a question to the audience? It's quiet. David, from your personal experience in life, have you ever been able to achieve a goal on how you have put or you have reflected it on being specific and how you've measured it? Just the two elements, just your practical experience so that others can also hear. Yes, you.
I think it's 5 years ago.
Use this mic so that.
I think a very good example. 5 years ago, I did sit down, probably 25 years old, and I did have like 5 goals. One of them was that by the time I turn 30, I should be working in a technology policy area, and I had no idea how to get there. But 5 years I've been to school, I've changed jobs, and I would say that right now where I am, it's like I had a vision, so I knew the steps I had to do, and some of them were quite easy, but it was being bold, and knowing that every step that I take is moving me towards what I really want to do.
Thanks. So you actually were very specific to the steps that you had to take. A, attainable. This is one of those very challenging ones. We wake up in January 1 with all these resolutions and goals and specifications. And here some of us, we call it busy season at work. So yeah, I wake up January 1, I want to do exercise, 5 p.m. every day. Hits busy season, I'm dying, sleeping at midnight and whatever. And I cannot attain my goal. So how do I attain my goal, Natujwa? What is attainable?
So, attainable or achievable, first of all, you should make sure that you are the one who is making the goal and who is the person who is making sure that you can attain the goal. In one or the other, the process of being all achievable and attainable, you should make it all realistic. It is not a dream. Like you cannot just say, I want to get all in shape, then you just sleep right there. Something with which it won't just happen through a dream. You cannot just sit there and then get all into shape or get all that body, get all thick. That won't happen. But also at the same time, you should have goals in which whereby they should not be pedestal. Whereby I can give the example whereby Brother Basil was saying that with anything that you want to do, you should be specific. If you want to get all thick, then you should think that maybe I will enter through a gym, or maybe I'll be doing squats, or maybe I'll be running early in the morning and evening late, or maybe I'll be eating this, and that. But in one or the other, how do you attain that? If you're not serious, or maybe if you're not doing what is right, then you cannot attain it, or you cannot achieve it. But also at the same time, there are things whereby you have to do the measurements, whereby they help you to attain what your goal is. So in one or the other, you should stay focused at all times. I have this quote where I say, it's never too late, or you're never too old to set another goal, or to dream a new dream. So it's just like me, one of my dreams is that I actually want to own a Mercedes-Benz, an AMG. And I've been telling this to my family. At the end, or maybe before 2025, I don't know how, but in one or the other, I will achieve it. And I am sure that with the goals that I have set, or with the things that I do, in one or the other, I'll get that car. But also at the same time, you should not play small. You see, with me, I want to end the Mercedes-Benz. So in one or the other, I have to be having a big capacity of thinking. That I cannot be saying that I want to end Mercedes-Benz, then I'm always with a border. Something which is so not true. Or maybe something whereby I'm always in a dala fighting, nah, I cannot. I should have high standards. It's either I get to Bolt every day, me relaxing, thinking that yes, here I am in my Mercedes-Benz, or maybe and one or the other, have that Bajaji guy that every day takes me to school, to work, that way. But also at the same time, you should never let your vision sleep. If you have a vision, then you should be specific with that vision, but also at the same time, you should know how to attain it. How do I achieve this vision? Because you cannot achieve a vision if you're sleeping or if you're dreaming of the vision. But also at the same time, you should dream enormously big. It's just like how I am dreaming to have a Mercedes-Benz. So with my dreams, with what I do, with everything I'm taking responsibilities with, they should be big and huge things. Or maybe the things that come face me, the challenges, okay? In one or the other, I should be taking the challenges as something that is a positive thing. That maybe one day or the other, maybe today, yes, I don't have the money to attain like a Judge, or maybe a Bolt, or maybe an Uber, but in one or the other, I am sure that tomorrow is going to be a good day. Today was a bad day, but tomorrow is going to be a good day. But I also have a quote where it says, shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you will always land on the stars. So in one or the other, even if you try shooting, even if you won't reach there, there's just a place whereby you will reach. Whereby it will be a high standard, it won't be that low standard as how you thought that you're going to reach. But as long as you shoot, you will do something that is way larger and way easier for yourself. But also at the same time, you should be persistent and make all the difference. You should not aim for something that is huge, then you're not different with the others. Or maybe you should not aim for something that, you should not aim, or you want to achieve something that is huge, then you're always doing something that is local, that is so much true. You should always be unique and different from the others. But how important is this element in setting your goals? It actually helps you figure out ways you can realize your goal and the ways that you can work towards it. So also, but also at the same time, by doing more realistic goals and not just letting them become a dream. So I want to tell everyone, in one or the other, if you want to achieve something, it's better make it realistic. Or if you want to do something, don't just think that you can't do it. You should actually have the positive energy and that positive thinking of saying that, yes, I can do this and I'll do this. Actually, I have an example. There's a person who told me that Natujwa, you can never work in a government office. And the bad thing or the good thing, and that was when I was in secondary. And it's a person who was really close to my family. He was like, nah, you want to do it. Nah. But the good thing, he motivated me. And look at me now. I am doing big things. I am working somewhere that I wanted to do because I achieved. But also I didn't only achieve, but I also had a goal whereby it was specific. then Natujwa you get this grade, and in one or the other, you just try ways wherever you're going to find your way there. And if you find your way there, you're gonna try to achieve the different things that you're gonna do. But also at the same time, there are different things on how to achieve your goals. First, you should write down your goal. And secondly, you should always work on your mindset. If you have a high capability in the mindset, because we're different, yeah? There's a person who has a huge capability of a mindset, but there's also a person who has a shallow one. Whereby, with one or the other, if you have a huge capability of a mindset, then you can do bigger things and greater things. But if you're always thinking there on the low capacity, you can't do anything. But also, it has to you should set a deadline for achieving your goal. So with me, I want to get a Mercedes. My deadline is 2024 October. So if I don't get that car on October 2024, I don't know what I'll do. But in one or the other, I am not ready to get upset. So I'll try in every case or in every way to just achieve and get that car. But also develop your skill set. Just as how I'm saying, if your skill set is all low, try all your best to have a high capability of a skill set. Or maybe just try involving yourself with people who are strong and with people who always have a wide capability of thinking, but also with a high mindset. Or maybe people who will always help you have that skill of you to think way higher and to think of way more capabilities you can do. Yes, and the other one is continue to computation, with whatever you're doing, you should always continue doing that. Or you should always try achieving whatever you want to achieve. So it's just like how Basil said, you cannot want to go to shape, then you just, today you're doing the exercise, tomorrow you're not doing the exercise, something which is so not true. Or maybe today you're eating all good, then tomorrow you're eating all junkies, something that you won't be there. But also at the same time, after achieving this goal, you should always do your best to reward yourself. Because, attaining a goal or doing something is not that easy. So you should always reward yourself with everything that you get to do. Even if it's a small goal, even if it's a huge goal, you just try your best and do with every best just to give yourself a hand of applause.
Thanks, Natty. So that was A, attainable, relevant. Whitney, why should my goals be relevant, especially at the stage that I am in my life? Why should I have a relevant goal?
Okay, so listening to all the panelists speaking, I feel like whatever I had in mind is just gone. I don't know where to start. But, so before I answer your question, I've been listening, and among the things that I've got to learn about SMART goals is that without a plan, your life is meaningless. So if you do not have a plan for your life, whatever way it is, if you do not have a plan in your life, then you just be living meaninglessly. Okay, and having a plan means you have to set goals, because I find that with a plan, there's that aim and vision. You have your vision, you have that big objective that you want to achieve in life. Then that is when you have to start setting goals. Okay, so the relevant part of setting goals is that you have your vision and you're setting your goals. If these goals do not support that vision in any way, then those goals are meaningless to you. For example, let's say I want to be should we go with the fitness part? Okay, yeah. So let's go on with the fitness part. Yeah, I want to lose weight. Okay, that is my goal. That is my big objective, that I want to maintain a certain kilogram of weight in my life. So that is my big objective. And then I set goals like, in order for me to have a certain amount of weight, then I will make sure that I have at least 5 pairs of rubbers. That's a very relevant goal, trust me. I mean, yes, you need the rubbers for exercising and all of that, but having it as your goal that I am going to have a stack of rubbers, because there are people that just have that particular goal, and for the ladies, I know that is there. Just plan that I am going to have a wardrobe, order for me to have that amount of kg, I want to have a wardrobe of fitness clothes. But that thing is not relevant in your life. I mean, if you think about it, you just need maybe 2 pairs if you want to be less, if you want to be more economical. You just need like 2 pairs of fitness clothes for you, maybe a change of after 6 months for. I'm really not good in buying clothes, so that way. So yeah, that's the thing. So the relevant part is that you need goals that are important to help you realize your vision. But then if you're making goals that do not help you get towards that vision, then those goals are not relevant in your life. And that is where sometimes we fail, because we make plans, we make goals, we do things that do not support our vision. And then somewhere in life we find that we have lost our way because we went through things that were not getting us towards the vision that we had in mind.
So have you ever set irrelevant goals? Please give us an example. Be real, bring it home.
You should have started with relevant.
Okay, we can do relevant.
All right, so with me, among the goals I had, one of the vision that I had in mind was to be an accountant, a very successful accountant, yeah? But, so towards this, yes, I did my bachelor in accounting and finance, and I know that I had to do CPA or one of those financial exams, but then I went to do my master's in finance and investment. And partly, I mean, going through this process, because I haven't finished yet, going through this process of masters, I find that this was the most ridiculous idea I've ever done in my life. Because there's absolutely no way I'd be doing investments. Because it was not part of my vision, it was not anywhere in my vision. My vision was to be an accountant, period. And then somewhere in the way, just found myself doing masters, and I'm like, damn it, I just need to finish this thing and be done with it. So
I think what's important is to recognize and then continue, finish, and then, And most of us in our lives, we do end up having very irrelevant goals. However, when you realize the goal was not going to the vision that you have, it's okay. Pause, it's okay. And then come back and reestablish yourself. Because we're human beings, trust me. By the time you're my age, you've made a lot of mistakes, especially in setting goals. And that's why sometimes at the end of the year, when you look at the list of the goals and you only tick 3, you're like, what happened? Why did I not achieve this? Because sometimes some of these goals are not actually relevant to the stage of life that we're at. Always remember, where am I at? Where do I want to go at this stage? We're almost done. Time-based, unless there's a question from the audience. Elder Emil, I cannot leave you. Please give us your experience.
Good evening, happy Sabbath, happy New Year, and congratulations for kicking up the year with such powerful panelists and topics, especially for the youth. It's something you should be paying for when you're getting it for free. So God is good, and don't take it for granted, because unless you don't want to learn, then you won't make any difference. Okay. Listen where I'm coming from. This is to me more academic. Now let's talk about flu experience. And you might don't take me wrong, as good as it is, but there's other school she's talking about that when you get my age, and then you'll be looking at this and saying, no, I should have done this, I wish I could go back and do this and this and this. That becomes a lesson for you and a lesson for somebody else if they are willing to learn from your mistakes and your success. I'm working with the people who are trading from $1 million and above and who can read and write. Tell me now, where do they get that success? Where do they get that, how do they translate your MBAs into the practical thing they are doing on a daily basis? I was picking keywords when you were talking. There's daring. Daring what? You need to have a bigger dream, bigger than it can even scare you. That's daring. But I had another keyword of resilience. Yes, I want this thing, but how much do I want it? Is this something I can go to bed and go so many sleepless nights because I really need it that bad? Then, mistakes. Yes, there is a saying that every man can fall. But what makes a real man is how big you take on the ground. How do you bounce back from the fall? Everyone can fall, every man. When they say man, it doesn't mean the level. It's everyone. When they are saying how strong or resilient you are, everyone can fall. But how do you really desire that goal that you can go? You have all the, I've seen people taking notes, but is there any page in your notebook which has tears in it that you cried that you felt this one and you are going back to it? How many pages have you went sleepless night to the point that you are crying for that desire? I'm talking about practical now. Forget about the academic thing they are doing. Back then, in the school, you were referring to the schools. Then I went to the school where they were saying in Swahili, kusoma mbele bwana, kusoma itakuwa hapa. Don't quote me, please. Yeah? So I'm talking about environment, I'm talking where you come from, I'm talking people who are surrounding you, I'm talking people you hang around every day. That thing of saying kusoma mbele is stuck into people's mind, and they make sure they make it where they want it to go. Surely they had the degrees you're talking about. There's flexibility. I had you as flexibility. Yes, I did. Yes, I'm an MBA, but do I really restrict myself to MBA and do whatever I've studied in the class? Or am I flexible enough that when opportunity comes, I'll spot it and be able to switch around, regardless of my degrees and all that stuff. So when you are talking about SMART goals, but then tell me how daring are you? Tell me how resilient are you? Tell me how badly do you want that goal, such that whatever comes in between, you will jump in. You need to move from the talking, they are talking here, into a practical way of designing that thing and working so hard to get to that desire or dream you want. Dream bigger, she said, dream bigger to a level that when you're telling people are scared, is this man really realistic? They might say you are not realistic, but you are realistic. That's what you want, and you want it so badly that you can do anything to get there. But then you said about measurable, but you can only measure it as you try. You go to, maybe you have no idea how to measure it, but you try today, you fail. How badly do you want it? You try again. How badly do you really want it? You go the third time. Before you know, you are coming too close to that dream. Before you know, you get to that dream. Then people will say, how did she make it? Yeah? But they don't know how far you have come from, the sleepless night you have gone through, how much you have lost in the process, even including friends, family who have abandoned you because of what you have dreamed, because they can't see where you are looking at.
Thank you, Elder. It's very important to be very practical, specific to your goal. And as he was talking, a lot of memory came back to my head. When I finished university, I did my first degree in Namibia. My aim and goal was to become a chartered accountant. And I had told myself that I'll be a CA via ACCA or CA South Africa. No way out. I had told myself, I have to work in a Big Four. Big Four is PwC or KPMG or EY or Deloitte. But I was in a foreign land. And trust me, when you're in a foreign land, it is not easy for a foreigner. The way we treat foreigners is the same way we are treated out there. You cannot enter into the system. I remember I prepared all my CVs. I was an A student. I was a cum laude. I was like, sure, I'm gonna get in. And I walked into all these offices and they told me, sorry, we can't give you this. And in my head, I was like, I will still attain it. I don't know how. I will still get into a good firm. I remember crying to God and asking him, but really, Lord, I can't get into a Big Four. And God said, at that time, no. I packed my bags, but I'm praying, and my vision is CA. My head is just saying, I need to be a CA. Packed my bags, went to where my parents were at that time in Kigali. I'm a foreigner again in Kigali. Started walking into the offices, went to EY. At that time there was no PwC, so it was just EY and Deloitte. They said no. And this was a child who came from Tanzania in 1999. 2000, I'm in Namibia at 16, 17 years old. I don't really know Tanzania. I just finished my degree and I told myself, I'm going to have to go back to TZ Road. And I don't know how TZ is. But my aim and my desire was Big Four, because through the Big Four, I'll be able to do my ACCA and become a CA. So you aim, I want to become a CA, but how do I want to become a CA? I need to go into a big audit firm. I need to get my training. I need to study certain subjects. How do I do it? You've got to be specific. And I was so specific, I remember even through my prayers. Just reversing back, when I was in university, my rich friends knew they were going to South Africa. And as they were applying, I knew my dad told me, I'm only going to pay for you the first degree. I'm not going to pay others. When you're done with your first degree, you come home to work. But yeah, because you're with rich friends and they're applying, I also just applied by faith. I was going by faith. So I left Namibia. I'm in Kigali. Kigali is not working out. What's the next choice? Back home. Trust me, it was a scary choice. And I remember crying to God, fasting. I don't remember if there was 10 days, but I remember I fasted and I prayed for a whole week. Lord, I need an intervention. I don't know how, I don't know where, but my desire is to become a CA. And I actually didn't say ACCA, I said CA. I want to be a CA. I want to do my articles. All those things are done in South Africa and Namibia. Guys, I'm sitting in Kigali. I get a phone call from PwC Namibia. They call me, they tell me, Sarah, we have seen your CV. Somehow, we're giving you a bursary to go to South Africa for studies, and then come back and work with us. And I'm like, huh? I didn't apply for a bursary. Yeah, I know you didn't, but somehow your CV is here, and you've got really good marks, so we're just giving you a bursary. Then I'm like, do you guys realize I'm a foreigner? Yeah, Sarah, do you want this opportunity? Yes. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, do I have a university? So everything comes back, and God shows me who He is. He was directing me at university to apply because He knew the plans He had. Because I had a goal, and I had submitted that goal to God. The vision was CA. Trust me, the route was not easy even as I went to SA. But because the desire and the vision and the submission to God, God was faithful. So young people, just have that vision. What do you want? Where do you want to see yourself? Where do you want to go? Submit it. Be so specific to God. Every single day, be specific. You will see God. Time-based. How do we put our goals in timing? Because because that's also another challenge we have. Sometimes you put a goal and you're thinking it's supposed to be achieved within 12 months, but realistically it's supposed to be achieved in 1 year, in 2 years. So how do we put a goal in time?
Happy Sabbath. After Elder Emil and Sarah, I think we can just say amen. I don't think I can go more than that, more deep than that. So with time, we all use the word, we all know what timely goals mean. Basically, the reason why SMART has timely is because it has to be urgent. Your goal has to have a deadline. It has to have a date that you say, okay, either I have failed, I'm not pursuing this goal, or I have reached to this amount, or this is where I'm at. So you have to have a start date, which is today when I'm setting the goal, and a timeline. This goal is a 2 years goal. Now, how do you get to the timeline? Okay. So I'm going to be practical here. We're going to be practical. Everyone just remove your phones. I know you have phones. I need all of us to go to the calculator and then do this for my goal. So you're helping me out here. My goal is to get 1 million. Before 30 years old, I have to achieve $1 million US. So I have to be worth $1 million US. Yeah, big goal. So $1 million US. Before I'm 30, I am about to turn 29 in January. So basically I have 1 year, right? Now, $1 million US, it is an S. How much is it? So $1 million US times 2,300. So the exchange rate today. How much? So 2.3 billion. Now 2.3 billion. Yeah, 2.3 billion. So 2.3 billion divided by 12. 191 million divided by 30 days. 6.3 million in 30 days. So daily I have to make 6.3 million. Divided by 12 hours, high chances those are the hours of working.
Okay, 500,000.
500,000 an hour. That looks achievable, right? Yeah. That looks like something I can actually try to do. Whether it's by selling, whether it's by selling my time, whether it's by anything, it looks like something I can think about. Now that's the process that I urge every one of you to go through. The goal is big, it looks big, it's $1 million US, it looks even scary to me. But when you break it down and put it in hours, in days, it's what you find you're able to run towards. So instead of just saying, I want, what was it? A Mercedes, was a Mercedes AMG. How much is it? And I want it by 2024. That means 2024 is in 2 years?
Don't go this year.
Okay, so it's 1 year as well. Now break it down and say how many or what time you need and how worth is your time for you to reach or attain that goal. It might still be big, but then at least you have a starting point. Instead of me saying I want $1 million US before I'm 30, I can say I need to make 500,000 an hour before I'm 30 every day until I reach 30 for me to attain my goal. Are we together? It's not so scary anymore. It's something that we all can. Stop looking at me with those eyes. We're dreaming big. Okay, so that's the first thing. Your goal has to be urgent and it has to be breakable into small goals that you can reach. Now, another example of a goal, so I'm going to make it very practical. Another example of a goal is Basil. You want to lose 12 kg a year, or you want to lose 40 kgs a year. How big is your goal, Basil? We know you want to lose weight, so how big is your goal?
I want to lose weight.
You don't? Yes, okay, Sarah, I know it's your goal.
It's my goal. To get to my BMI, I need like 10 kilograms.
So you need to lose 10 kgs.
Yeah.
That means instead of saying I need to lose 10 kgs, we can make Sarah think that she only needs to lose 1 kg in a month, which is now attainable. It's something that you can do. 1 kg equals to maybe 4 workouts So we're going at the same 4 workouts in a week.
Yeah.
So you can do it. Yeah. Saturday, Yoni, after Sabbath, you can work out. You can work out on Sunday. You can work out sometime on Thursday and maybe Tuesday. You can fix in a time on Tuesday. 1 hour each is something that you can do. So I want all of us to do that to our goals. Yes, we have heard out they're supposed to be specific, they're supposed to be relatable, they're supposed to be, but then put it in something that you can think about. Put it in something that you can actually work towards. Now, I used to sit in things like this all the time. Like I'm now 28. So since back then, I've been sitting in rooms like this where people talk about how to plan their goals yearly. How to plan your goals at the start of the year and then come back mwisho wa mwaka and start ticking and start looking at what you have achieved. For all 27 years, yes, for all 27 years, I never knew where I wrote those goals. Like it's either in one of the notebooks or it's one of something or it's somewhere. I just don't remember by the end of the year where that goal was. You know, like I wrote it, I remember I wrote it, but where exactly? Where did I write it for me to find it? Now, come last year, I made it like something, okay, now this has been my problem for years. Because it's either in a notebook, some years later I would find, oh, this is my goals for that year, you know, and that was it. So there are 2 practical methods that I have learned from my first year of doing the goals and coming at the end of the year and like checking them out and seeing what I achieved, what I didn't achieve. First, Lucy.
She's here.
Yeah, I'm glad she's here. There is something called Ear Compass. The Ear Compass is like a document online. If you just search Ear Compass, it's a document online that it makes you sit down, regulate your whole last year, and start planning for your next year. So in details, in all category of goals, because I don't think we have touched category, but there's family, education, it's work, all the categories in your life. It helps you now specify and see what activities you have done for the past year and what activities or goals you have for the next year. Lucy has been doing it, I'm pointing you because I know she has been doing it for a couple of years. I only did it for 1 year and I've seen it work. So there's that, you can download that document and just fill it in because it traces the direct ways where you have to reach or what you have to indicate in your goal writing or goal preparing yourself for a year. And the second thing now is the one thing that has worked for me as well last year. I'm assuming there's 1 or 2 people here who was like me. I had goals in all sectors, social media, work. I want to work at KPMG. I wanted just everything. So last year I decided to put it in categories. Category number 1, this one. Category number 2, this one. So these are the things that you have to do in actions and activities and how you're going to do them. And that, I put it in a vision board.
Yeah.
So I made a board, normal board, we all have boards. I took pictures from the internet, went to a normal cafe, print these photos for me. I want to see them on a daily note when I wake up in the morning. Stick in a note, put all that mind map that I have. I wanted 8, 9 things in life. So put them all in and understand what are the ways to reach them. And then every day I woke up in the morning, that was the first thing I would see in my room. That was the first $1 million was like the first thing I would see in my room. So I did not, by the time I'm removing the vision board in December, there were not a lot of things that I have achieved. But during the year, it made me have focus. It made me know exactly that in the 20 things that you have wanted, the 20 categories of things that you have wanted in your life, these are the most important things, and this is what you value in your life. So at the end of the year, I look back, yes, there are things I ticked off, and I was like, yay! But then the main goal for the vision board for last year was basically have focus. So as much as we have said all this here, it may be you're in a position where you're like, I have a lot of things. I can't just have 2, 3, 1 goal. Maybe I have 8, I have 20, I have 15 goals. Then you can just put them all as your goals for now. And then as time goes on, you're going to just narrow down at some point and feel like these are my values, these are my goals, this is what I'm headed towards. Am I still in time? Yes. But yeah, that's
Thank you. Thank you. Last year was my first time to have a vision board. My kids look at it every time. He saw it also. I literally put my vision in a board in different categories, and some of it has been ticked off. And it's things that I had desired to achieve and had not achieved them, maybe because I was not looking at it every morning. But now every time I pass by that corridor, I see this vision board and I'm like, I need to achieve that. And it really helps you to see it. I know some guys will be thinking, really, I should go and cut, and stick. But there's a mental thing about it. To cut a picture of yourself singing and you put it there, somehow you get to sing in Amcha, you know? It really happened. Like, I put a vision board around September last year. And one of the stickers was me singing because I had missed going back to singing. And again, I prayed over the vision board and I said, Lord, you see my desires. And some of them, oh, they're very big. This is my desires, Lord. And Maggie comes and calls me, please come and sing. That's all. And I haven't done that for years. And I did it. Another one was where I was going to go for holidays. Hey, pasted it there, all out, and it happened. So look at it, cut it out, think of it, but above all, pray about it. Submit your plans to the Lord, and He will establish them. He's a faithful God. He knows our desires. And He said, I will give you the desires of your heart if you delight in me. So let's delight in the Lord, and He will give us the desires of our hearts. Any comment from the audience before we close? Any questions?
Lucy, please.
Yeah, Lucy, and I prepared you, Lucy, so.
Spotlight.
Yeah. You need to use the mic, so you have to come here.
You're only telling us your experience of setting goals and actually achieving them, or going back and saying what you've achieved.
Okay. So, hi everyone.
Hi.
So, setting goals. So, okay. So my experience with the Doreen mentioned the year compass. It has been super eye-opening because it's like sometimes we plan for the year without looking back at what we've done. And one of my best pages in that document is the first page that tells you to write down everything that happened last year, like this year. And you basically just go, it tells you to go back to your calendar, put down everything, every significant thing that happened. And then as you go back into your memories, you're like, oh wow, God has really been good to me. This and that happened to me, and I'm grateful to God for that. And then again, planning for the year ahead, it tells you to select a word or select words for your next year. So that you're carrying those words. So for example, I had a year which was about growth. So that was like, if I was to put a vision board, I've never done a proper vision board, maybe I'll do that this year, I don't know. But if I was to put growth, then that means growth is painful. So I really experienced growing pains that year. And it was because God had seen that this was the word that I needed to have to carry me through the experiences. Because sometimes when you go through things and you don't have the foresight before you go through them. When you go through them, it's like, oh, why am I going through this, and all that, you're complaining. But then when you've planned it out and you've submitted it to God, and not only submitted, but then God has placed those dreams and plans in your heart, then you are able to walk through the challenges knowing that God is taking me through this to prepare me for something great for the next coming year or the next coming quarter. Now, the other thing when it comes to planning goals, so I came across this clip by Steve Harvey. I'm not necessarily a fan of Steve Harvey, but then this clip stood out. There's a verse in the Bible that it's in, I think it's Malachi. I don't remember the verse. I will check it out and read and like post it on the youth group or something. But it says, write down the vision. And Steve Harvey in that clip challenges you to write down, is it 300 things that you want God to do for you? And dream big. 300 things. If you are, as you said, you're like, oh my gosh, I can reach 300. I reached 50 and I was like, yeah, you can. Next. I don't have 300 things really that I want. So then I start writing things that don't make sense. Lord, I want a horse ranch. I thought about ranch with horses one day. And some very abnormal things, right? You start thinking about some very things that don't make sense. So last year, when 2021 was ending, instead of in our meeting, and we were writing down, I was just challenging her to also use the year compass and write down my goals. And I said, what I've learned is you need to go back quarterly, or at least regularly, to go back and review your goals and plan ahead for the next quarter and all that. So what I did, after I had Steve Harvey's clip, and I wrote down my 50 goals and got stuck, I kept going back every month or so. So every month every second weekend of every month is my weekend to recalibrate. So I take time to just like go back and think through the past month, what do I want for this month, am I on the right track from the plans that I had before, and just putting it all down and yeah. So I will go back and then I started ticking. I started going through the 50 things. I started like, it's happening. I've got this, I'm ticking this off, I'm ticking that off. I'm like, okay, let's add more. I got more revelation of things, on which 70 things, and then I come back the next month and I'm ticking things. I'm like, this actually happened, this happened. And you're not doing this just because you want things. It's because God has put these things in your heart. When you follow God, God places things in your heart that He wants you to achieve for His glory. Amen. And so when you're ticking this off, it's not for your glory, it is for God's glory. And that's why these things keep aligning. When your plans are not in alignment with God's plans, they will not happen. But when they're in alignment with God's plans, they will happen at His time again. So it might be a perfect plan, but not in God's timing, it will not happen. So as I'm taking this off, I'm just like, now I'm at 100 or something things. And as the years keep going on, the months keep going on, I hope I get to 300 and maybe 500. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what God achieves through me, because I have accepted that His desires for me, because He has good plans for us, that His plans for me are worked through my life. And yeah, I think that's like in brief. That's my experience with planning it. Yeah.
Amen. Thank you. And the word thing works. My word was change. It's still change. So yeah, find a word that will make a difference.
Mine was consistency last year. And then I realized, I have not gone through the year compass for last year yet, but I realized, I just opened the page and then I was like, the first thing that I said I will be consistent on is social media. And I think some people follow me here, but I am very intentional with when it comes to the media, and I feel like I have a purpose. I actually have a purpose with creating content on social media. So consistent in social media, and I wanted to reach, at that point it was just, like a weird number, just a number that came, and it is very much not attainable, as we have all seen. It was not anyhow achievable. It was like 10,000. At that point, I was just at 3,000 followers. I was like, I'm going to get to 10,000 followers. And that was like a big number. Again, a very huge number. I am now at 16,000. I don't know how it happened. It was just the consistency. I'm going to create meaningful content. I'm going to be intentional about posting content on social media. I am going to post it consistently because that was the word, and that was what I was going for. So at the end of the year, you sit down and then you're like, oh, God, nothing is big for you. That was not so big on you. It was like big for me, but it was not in your presence.
Amen. Any other comments before we round up? So, S, be specific. M, gotta be measurable. A, gotta be attainable. R, sorry? Gotta be relevant. And T, time-based. Let's stand and close. Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour.
me at my Father's throne, make all my wants and wishes known. In seasons of distress and grief, my soul has often found relief, and often escaped the tempest never that return, sweeter of prayer.
Let us pray. Father, Lord in heaven, we thank you so much for this blessed Sabbath. We thank you for your blessings, for the privilege you've given us to come here and learn these things.